No, it's not working. Shit. Oh well, I just... It's back. Okay. I would say don't give up. Okay. I won't give up then. I'll carry on. This happens every session. Well, to us, you saying? This happens to us every session, or this happens on... Because if it doesn't generally happen on Twitch, then this is a bad service. It would be better if we got it sorted, obviously. So we need to try some radically different things. Lots of things it could be, right? It could be the box, so the encoding. It could be the broadband line. They're the two things it's most likely to be. Exactly. Yesterday it was fine. No settings have changed. What's going on? The answer is above. Sorry, perceptual lucidity. What, me being scammed by the internet company, or which bit? Is it something... I'm not sure which of the suggestions. Dodgy Cambridge internet connections are the problem. Move to the science part. Could be that, Temi. Constant bit rate. Yeah, I think that is the most likely issue. So I will speak to the support of the box company. It reminds me of Silicon Valley. Kevin Belson and his box. I'll speak to the support of that box company, see if there's any way we can do constant bit rate. I'll do that right now, actually, because they will be waking up. And if there isn't, then I will dedicate my laptop, which is on here anyway, to using OBS or the Game Capture HD. I've got this box here, which does hardware H.264 streaming, encoding. Elgato Game Capture HD. So the option is I could go into that. That does most of the horsepower and the heavy lifting, and then use the laptop to manage it via Game Capture HD or OBS if I have to. I'd rather not. So yeah, let me just email them and we'll go from there. Any other questions or feedback apart from the fact the stream sucks in the meanwhile, guys? I'd be really interested to hear. I'm going to link them to this very stream, the support people here, so they can see the problems themselves. They can see what's going on, because that would be probably pretty helpful to them. So I'll just do that now. Episode 7, 0 views. So this one here, there you go. That one's bound to be full of problems. I'm having terrible trouble with Twitch on and off. See here. And then I'll tell them, they really, any chance of a firmware update. And I'll check the chat in just 2 seconds, guys. Update to the Video Pro to make constant bitrate streaming possible per Twitch's guidelines. Thanks. Okay, so there's a possibility that either I don't know how to make it constant bitrate, which is unlikely because there aren't many buttons to push, or that they'll do a firmware upgrade, in which case we'll move forward. So we could buy a TV broadcasting company and hire them to edit. Now that's just silly. That is silly. Content with sporadic loss is better than no content at all. Sure, but we would rather get you proper stream. We need to get you a proper stream. Is the RPG game going to span multiple scenes? Yes, it will, Temi. And actually, I already have a comment in the code about this. Look, consider persistence of cross-scene loads. I'm still playing with the ergonomics at the moment, that what you want to click on where. I'm designing the designer's user interface more than anything else right now. So that Rick can then come along and make an awesome game from it. So how would I persist across scenes? You can do a don't destroy on load on those game objects if they are multi-scene relevant quests. So that is a possibility. I mean, I am slightly questioning this structure, but I'm going to play with it more, and really I want to stumble across an interface in the inspector that feels really good, where you can pause the game at any point, where you don't have any more complexity than you need, where when you pause the game you can see what state all the quests are in, where it's really kind of obvious if you click on something like this this escape detector in here. You can click on the quest and go and see what the quest is, and you can see what the quest state is. That's not working right now because this quest state component is a different instance and has a different state, so that's not working. You could write a tool in Unity. Easily, no, but yeah, we can write tools. I'm trying to avoid writing tools where possible. We have had a big discussion about how the dialogue tree and the dialogue design is going to work, and my first thought was use the animator. It's already got all the user interface you need. It may not be very ergonomic, but again, it keeps coming down to the ergonomics. As the programmers, our job is to make an interface for the designer. Even if we're in India and we're on our own completely, our job is to make an interface for the designer that the designer finds fast and easy to use, even if that designer is you. Because when you're in design mode, level building mode, etc., you want to be able to go fast and loose and easy. So you're trying to design an interface for yourself that really works well. So hopefully that makes sense. You could run dialogues and quests through the same interface, potentially. And again, we may even be able to do that in the animator. So it's a good point, Jan. What I'm thinking of doing is, and maybe we should zoom out and consider dialogues and quests at the same time. What I'm thinking of doing is having animator states be parts of quest dialogue, and it could potentially link off to some quest structure. So really, it's just a question of playing until... So whether that'll work or not depends on the exact implementation details of how you get data in and out of an animation clip, whether that's a horrible repurposing of the animator, like Sam thinks it is, and that we should just use the same tools that Unity used to create the animator GUI to make our own custom thing. Maybe we should, but you also need to prove the whole idea of having like a drag and drop and does it work. So a quest is really mostly a form of dialogue at its core. Hey, Win the First, thank you very much for subscribing with Twitch Prime, despite all the stream issues today. I really appreciate it. Teradek have already given us a ticket, so they are on it. They will be telling us whether there's any way to do constant bitrate. Anyway, got lots of backup plans if there isn't. One of the mandates I have as like a family general principle is that we're able to work from anywhere and that we're geographically flexible. So I'm trying to design... not that we ever do, but I like to be able to go abroad and work if I want to. And I'm trying to design things so that we don't have to have, for instance, 2 computers with you. So, don't have Unity Pro, Friday Meme says. No, I don't have Unity Pro because most of you guys don't have Unity Pro. And anyway, these days it's exactly the same. So if you're looking at the fact that I've got a light theme rather than a dark theme, then that's just because I'm not using Unity Pro. Why am I not doing that? They gave me Unity Pro. I could use the Pro version whenever I want. It's just that you guys don't have access to it, and there's very little extra functionality these days. It's not really how they work, right? Unity now separate themselves on their cloud services. That's what differentiates one level of subscription from the other. So, yeah, that's why I'm not using Unity Pro. I hope that makes sense. So, yeah. All right, how's the stream? After all of that, how are we doing? Because I want to get on with the RPG production. And I think it's settled down. Stable. My God, that's awesome. All right. So. We cannot have the same script on this escape detector thing here that determines the behavior of the quest completion criteria as we have on these strange game object ideas, because you can't have 2 instances of the same escape quest that are really talking about the same quest, one of which has a state here that is an instance variable based on this game object, and one which is a instance variable based on the trigger to complete the quest. Does not make sense to have that. So under this approach, we're going to need 2 separate scripts. Now, do these quests even have to have the subclass, or can I just put the top level class on these? That's not going to work. Let me have a think. So sometimes I'm just going to have to think, and it's going to be quiet. So give me a second. Wow, that was my stomach. I rarely use inheritance, you see, so I'm trying to... inheritance plus composition, where we're extending by composition through the inspector and then extending by inheritance in the code, is rather confusing. I love the dark screen theme in Unity Personal. Interesting why. We probably can just go to the dark theme. I've never even tried. Would you guys want me to go to the dark theme? I've never even considered it. It's just not important to me. Where is it? I don't even know where it is in here, to be honest with you. Is it available to me? Colors? I mean, obviously I could go through and mess around with this, but yeah, window. Where do I get to my dark scheme? Yeah, I thought you did need. Thought you did need Unity Pro to go to a dark theme, but somebody's saying that you like the dark theme in Unity Personal. It's Unity Prefs, is it? Where? Yeah, plus and above, exactly. So I'm just using the base free version. Colors, yeah, sure, we can go and change all these colors, but that's not a theme. I mean, I can get it close to that theme by changing all the colors, but is like a one-click theme switch? I don't think I can do in this version of Unity. Not that we should spend too much time worrying about this. I'm using Personal because that's what most of our students are using. Anyway, doesn't really bother me. You can edit the hex code at the video I posted. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, so BitGamer, you're saying we can... Right, yeah, okay. Yada, yada. Lots of ways, lots of discussion. Very interesting, but not that relevant. I don't mind it being light theme. I hope it doesn't offend anybody's eyes too much, it being this light theme. So, on the last stream, somebody suggested we do a box diagram. Let's start doing some box diagrams, I think. We've got to that point now. So... get myself up a diagram, which we use any old white background will do. I might just leave this. That's not a good white background actually. I'll do it over the top of this if VLQ works for me. Here we go. Of course, anybody watching, you're probably aware this is what we're doing here is prototyping. We are not trying to, this is not how we teach our courses, right? We teach our courses very differently, as those in the chat will attest. Anybody who knows us. This is the behind the scenes of how much head scratching goes into getting this stuff done properly. And I can't even enunciate all the things I'm considering here because I'm talking about some of the things I'm considering, but there's a whole bunch of other things going on behind the scenes. So it's a little bit hard to talk about and get all of the value out, but I shall do my best. Yeah, exactly. Dark theme isn't available here, and I'm sure there are ways of getting to something like that, but I'm not going to mess around with it right now. VLQ is the thing I use to write over the screen, not behaving. I do seem to get days. I don't really believe in good days and bad days, but I believe that some days I get tech issues across the board, like cannot get this working right now. Ugh. In fact, my activity monitor has frozen. It's VLQ. It's this program that draws over my screen. It's got locked into a funny mode. Come on, VLQ. Aha, there you go. Let's just end you because you are causing me issues. I'm going to end you. There you go. All right, so let's not use that for drawing over the screen. That sucks. Call it Dark Tool. Yeah. All right, so the good things about this architecture is I'd like to be able to list out the quests, see their state. The quest state is an enum that's dependent on this particular instance. I can lay them out. I could have sub-quests in here. That's all cool. I think that the quests are going to... The triggering of the completion of the quest is going to end up falling into a bunch of buckets like... See, this thing here is called escape quest, but really it's just a proximity thing. I think that we do have different, more generic classes that trigger the end of a quest. And you could even do that by composition. You could say that this quest will end when you, A, are in a certain radius, and B, speak to a certain person, for example. So therefore, your trigger condition would be, you would have like a collision volume, and maybe there's an NPC that walks in and out of that collision volume on a patrol, and maybe you need to speak to Bob while he's near the bridge, for example. And then we could compose that quest completion criteria by saying, well, it's not the specific quest here, but it's a quest proximity component plus a speak to somebody component. So let's go down that route for the moment. Where I actually complete the quest on these escape detectors, let's not try and put that same escape quest script at all. But let's do something similar to what escape quest does, but make it more generic. So what does escape quest do at the moment? it does that. All right, and where are my instances of escape quest in the scene? None now. Okay, doesn't sound right to me. Escape the pen is just a quest, knows nothing about it being escape quest. Yeah, so this is just a straight rename. It's not just a rename. I'm going to delete the escape quest class. Actually, I'm not. 1 second. Because I need its code. I can go and get its code from version control. Not a problem. Let's go get its code from version control. Escape quest went. Let's not inherit these trigger conditions from quest. This is my fundamental problem. If I have a escape detector, we want a new type of component on it. It's going to be called quest proximity. Or quest, yeah, proximity or collision. It's a quest collision script. Let's try that. Now, that quest collision script, if I go find it, inherits from mono behavior. Why? Not from quest. I'm just going to say not from quest. We'll see why in a minute. Now, let's paste that code in that I just got from the version control, if I got it from the version control. Just this void on trigger enter stuff. Boom. Okay. Now we're going to need to get the quest, but for now, let's look at it over in the inspector. These escape detectors, both of them have a quest collision script, and they're going to need to know which quest instance they are solving or closing down. Now that should work. I think what I can do now is say that for a quest collision behavior to work, it needs to know which quest it's going to complete. So call it quest to complete. And then we can serialize that and wire it up in the inspector. Let's try this. Boom. Okay. And then which quest you complete? This one here. I'll look at the chat in a second, guys. Just I don't want to get too out of context or out of thought. So on these two escape detectors, or one escape detector, the quest I'm going to complete is escape the pen, like so, which should be of type quest. Cool. Let's test that. I think that's going to work. And I'll be answering your questions in a second. So Horatio is linked to escape the pen. We go to escape the pen. We come out of here and escape the pen goes. Oh, and then escape the pen is complete. Nice. Now, if I want the other escape detector on the other, well, where is it? It's over here. You can't really see what's going on. But if I zoom out, then this dude here is another escape detector. I simply copy this component. This is looking better. This is looking much better, I think. Paste it in there, and then we're good. Now, the two escape detectors are just signaling to the quest game object that it should complete them. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's wicked. I'm pretty excited by that. See, it looked like I always worry. There's a fine line between this is now genius, and before it was insanity. So there's supposed to be if I may say so myself, and there's a fine line. And I always get really worried when I'm going down these alleys, these exploration alleys, that this looks nuts, this architecture. But actually, it's really not nuts now. I don't think, because now the interface, how I actually acted as a designer, is pretty cool. I've got an escape the quest name. It's the game object name, so it's in one place. It's currently locked. Oh, okay. So look, we have to put some code in. This will be my next commit. I shouldn't be allowed to be getting that quest when it's locked. We're obviously not using that yet. But let me just commit what I've got. Then I'll review what we've done, and then we'll do the locking thing. So cool. So we have quest game object. So what we actually did is we moved the quest completion, or we changed quest completion. Hello, Lucy. She's back. I'm going to have to go and get myself a cup of tea in a minute. In a minute, I'm going to force Lucy to answer your questions again. Go on, Lucy. You know you want to. Okay. So, only issue unlocked quests. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do next, but for now I'm going to review what's going on. So we have these two quests. They are game objects in the world. They both have different scripts on them because the behavior of those quests... Oh, that's interesting. Escape the pen is a quest and find the bridge is a bridge quest. What behavior have we got in those quests at the moment? Nothing. We don't need anything in them. We don't need these subclasses. Bridge quest does not need to exist. Because the way that you complete a quest is now going to be a composition of things like you in a particular place, which is like the, I'm going to move it up actually, is like the quest collision completion criteria. Then another completion criteria might be speak to John, etc. So we're just going to have quest, which is just a top level. What does quest even do? Maybe quest needs a rename. What does quest do now? We get this far. It is a pure data object. It's pretty much just a quest state, this thing. Okay, so you have this quest, and then we have quest collision. I'll add something else in a minute, some other criteria, like you get to a certain place for a certain amount of time passes. We'll put some pressure on that architecture. But both escape the pen and find the bridge are simply quests. Where is this? Why can I not just select quest? Or just drag quest? Come on. Unity is not letting me drag stuff recently. What is going on? All right. Well, but yeah, I've got an enemy AI script on a find the bridge. This makes no sense whatsoever. Add component. Quest. Thank you. Don't know why it won't let me drag. So we have these two unlocked quests in the world. They're quests just because they've got the quest script on them. We have a escape detector that solves the quest only because you go into a collider volume and then you link to the instance of the quest that you're solving. Then when you play, I'm just kind of recapping for myself that this is sane, and then I will properly check the chat in a second. Escape the pen and find the bridge are both unlocked. Cool. Click on this dude. Escape the pen goes to active. Click on this dude, and the find the bridge is inactive. Click on this dude. Is find the bridge. Why is find the bridge not becoming active? What's wrong there? So this dude's probably lost his connection with all my messing around. This dude being the right-hand dude, which was my fug. Let's just see how they're connected. So how did Horatio, whatever his name is on the left here, Horatio the Hornblower, how did he know which quest to talk to? Let's go find out. Where's my fug? There's my fug. Quest. Quest is find the bridge. Find the bridge. Good. And then the other guy. All right, so he just wasn't linked. He'd lost his link just because of the way I changed the scripts. Good there's been no buffering for a while. So let's recap. I click on him. We get escape the pen. The escape the pen quest goes to active. If we look at the find the bridge quest, it's simply unlocked at this stage. We click on that. It goes to active. That's cool. I go to either of the escape the pen collision criteria quest completion widgets, like so, boom, and then escape the quest becomes completed, and that's pretty cool. I think that's sane. Guys, what do you think? Is that what you might determine as batshit crazy, or does that actually make some sense? Devil's advocate's going to be good, so I'm going to make myself bigger, not that you want to see my face, but you're going to get it. And let's look at the chat. Oh, that was my tummy rumbling. This eating once a day. Oh my God, it's nearly 4 p.m. I'm going to be stuffing my face soon. That is going to be awesome. I'll do that on camera one day. That will suck. Oh, by the way, I am also going to start streaming other weird stuff, like electric unicycling, like the super high crazy tree climbing we do here, like some of the flying that I do in various different things and with various different things, like some trampolining, like some gymnastics, like some, I don't know, maybe climbing on the roof of the house. Should I stream that occasionally into this channel for now until you know I start competing with the prime time of the channel? Or should I just start from the beginning streaming into the Ben Tristram Twitch channel, which isn't a partner yet, so I can't make any money, but who cares? It's just for fun. And then auto-host here. What do you think? How should I structure that? Maybe start here, pull it, refactor it out when it gets too much for this channel. Not do it at all, or whatever. Tell me. So Temi says, off topic, what attracted you to doing Unity courses and forming Gamedev TV? Do you see games as a great way to learning to program? Yes, that's it, basically. I mean, how I stumble across it historically is a much longer story, which you can here over the coming years. I mean, I won't go through now my history. It'll bore you and confuse you, and maybe slightly impress and excite you, but mainly the first two. Lucy's going slightly red on my behalf. You see, I don't get embarrassed easily, but Lucy is blushing for me, which is pretty cool. So she's my emotional sensibility over there. She's not my wife, by the way, Lucy. Lucy is my other wife. I have Lizzie as my main wife.
No, another wife. No wife.
This is a noise-cancelling microphone. You didn't hear her say that. She's gone ready to get Lucy. I'm awful, aren't I? Am I awful? I'm awful. You guys will get to know me. I'm kind of awful on the surface, but squishy on the inside. A bit like an armadillo. Is that it? Maybe. She's not sure. Anyway, what was I saying? Why did Lucy even come up? Because you were blushing for me. That was it. Yes, Lucy was blushing for me. So I got into this kind of by accident, like the rambling that I'm doing now, but very quickly we realized, yes, learning to code by making games is an awesome proposition, and that's what we focus on. So I'm miles behind in the chat. We're a fun team. I think we're a fun team. Sometimes I upset people I work with. Like I just have Lucy. She's...
Don't upset her. She's just embarrassed.
I embarrass you. I don't upset you. That's okay. Okay. So she's not going to throw anything at me just yet. Oh, here it goes. Ducked. On the website, it's saying learning to code can be frustrating. Coding your own games is easier than you think. I'm not sure what's ironic. Learning to code can be frustrating. Why do we say that first? I don't know. I haven't put a huge amount of thought to that bit on the top of the website. I probably should put more thought into it. The point is you normally want to meet people where they are, like problem, solution, and you go from there, right? So if the problem is, to somebody who doesn't know anything about it, that learning to code is frustrating, i.e. it's not frustration is a disconnect between how fast something is happening and how fast you expect it to happen. So there are two simple solutions. Well, that's what I think frustration is. There are two simple solutions to frustration. You either expect less or you go faster. So either way, we think we help people with both of that. If you first meet us, we hope that we firstly say expect less. Coding is a long journey. So let's just start you off by printing hello world and building it out from there. And the second thing is we help you can go faster. And one of the ways we think you can learn faster is to do it through games because they're fun. We think they are. Do you need to check if the player and the NPC is in the volume? Just the NPC there. The player needs to be close enough to be able to speak anyways. Yeah, well, we'll see as we get more different kind of... Yeah, probably. I'll put more pressure on the architecture, then we'll improve things. Talked about what? I plan on doing what later or something, Ninja. If you could just clarify that, I'm not sure. El Burrito, I've had to catch your streams after the fact because of the time change. Just wanted to drop in and say hi. Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you very much for being here. Awesome, thank you. That's cool. Several of the team are hearing that. Question, Lucy, do you want Ben to get you a tea?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, why not? I've just had one, but I can have another.
I think they're trying to get rid of me. Standard quest types yoinked from Wikipedia, thanks Jan. Kill, delivery, gather, escort, guess, solve, combo. Make a completion criteria based on objects and drop them in as needed. Nice idea. Kill, delivery, gather, escort, guess, solve, combo. Thanks Jan, that's going straight in the code as a suggestion. So I will put it in the... Oh, I don't have the class open, the file open. It's because I moved it. I'll put it in the quest collision, and I'm going to say this is a quest completion script. Quest completion criteria. Idea is to compose more complex criteria. So we're specifically not going to have this disallow multiple component thing on there. Not that we really need it anymore on the quest, but I'm going to leave it in there. It's certainly not doing any harm. We're specifically going to allow multiple components probably. And example, other criteria are boom. Kill delivery. What do you think kill delivery is, Jan? Kill delivery. Oh, just kill somebody, gather something, escort somebody somewhere, guess or solve, or some sort of combination, that kind of, or something else. I love it when people say the only categories of this are X, Y, and Z, or something else. It's great. There's been no buffering for a while now. Wonderful. I think it could be that I've turned off a bunch of Nest cams. I think maybe the uncertainty here is that sometimes it goes down one broadband line that is the broadband line the Nest cams are on, and sometimes it goes down the other. So I think that separating those out completely, trying that again, even though I thought I did it before. would maybe be a good idea. It's truly amazing and beautiful. I'm not sure what it is. I'm sure you're... and it's wonderful, and look how clever I am, followed immediately by the reality check of, oh yeah, but silly me, I completely forgot it sucks in 100 ways. And now I've got to go back to the drawing board, followed by, oh my God, but I've now solved that problem. That's awesome. Aren't I cool? Followed by, yeah, but I forgot this, and so on, right? So you go from hero to whatever the opposite is. What's the opposite of a hero, Lucy? Zero. Zero. From zero to hero. Once a day eating, how's that going? Is that how you do the pro handstands? Probably. It's how I'm lean, I think, because I'm not very disciplined with food, unless I am, if you see what I mean. Basically, I believe you have to either be disciplined about what you eat or when you eat. But if you're not disciplined about either, then you're going to grow, because the natural thing to do is to store calories around the middle, near your center of gravity, so that you can carry them for such times as you don't need them. But unfortunately, we never get more than 3 meters from a McDonald's these days, and we don't really need to be carrying around the storage all the time. So I am disciplined about when I eat now, not what I eat. When I eat, when I do eat, what I eat is disgusting. It's everything, and it's a lot of it. Separate them, otherwise people are going to want me to do weird nonsense. It could be a pro. I would say create a Ben Variety Hour channel for that stuff, perceptual lucidity. Do you mean a separate Twitch channel, or do you mean like a stream series? You'd love to learn about all this other stuff. Hardcore parkour. I'm not sure I do hardcore parkour. Although I did jump between 2 buildings that were 8 stories high once. That was quite scary, especially when the gap was a bit bigger than I thought it was. Wasn't particularly clever, but anyway. Any plans for realistic character modeling in the Blender course? What would happen is eventually the Blender characters course will go that far. You've got the main complete Blender creator. We've got 2 forks coming off it. We've got character creation, which is already exists. I'll give you a link to it. It's Udemy Blender characters. So what's the course, Lucy? It's BCC? Yeah. And then we've got the environments course, which is just in the very early stages of planning right now. So they're the main 2 things that people want to tend to do, certainly with regards to games, is make characters or environments. So the characters course will grow as the community grows. So the plan is make a Blender environments course, Blender, whatever, might be Blender if Mikey's making it, and make it a basic course, simple course. Go back to the main Blender course, remaster it into Blender 2.8, I believe it is. I get so confused with all these versions of different things. The major new Blender release. When that's remastered into 2.8, big 40, 50-hour course, I think the next thing that we'd probably turn our attention to is adding more to the existing Blender characters course to take that character further. Getting to realistic humanoid characters is a huge amount of work, so it's going to take us time to get there. And we need enough community members at a high enough level to be worth it. Jan really doesn't think you are my other wife. That's strange because I thought you were. Anyway, are we authorized to create memes, Ben XD? Memes? Probably. I mean, let's bring it on. How bad could it possibly be? What you're definitely authorized to do is to email Lucy at Gamedev.tv with your custom Twitch emotes as per the beginning of the stream. Coding games was easier than you thought, thanks to Ben. Oh, but it's also been frustrating. That's probably my fault too. I was talking about the idea that NPCs checking the player's distance. Yeah, we'll probably get to that in the dialogue too. There's so much to get to. Buffering and blurring again. Blur. You think a comma's missing? I love it. I love the jump. Yes, there's some kill delivery. Comma missing. Cool, look at that. Well diagnosed there, old chap. PJ guitarist. I get it. You play the guitar in your pajamas. I see. I decoded that. Welcome and thank you very much for subscribing. Perceptual lucidity. There are 2 hard things in programming. Here we go. Naming, cache invalidation. No, I've never heard that. I mean, I've never heard them. That's cool. I've heard the 2. I keep saying the 2 hard things in programming are naming and cache invalidation, and I completely agree. Just go use Unreal. You'll have both those problems all the time. And I've also heard I've heard another one, which is there are 2. No, what is it? Yeah, there are 2 hard problems in networking, which is in-order delivery. And these are the 2 hard problems in networking. In-order delivery, only once delivery, and only once delivery. Get it? And then there's another one, which is the off-by-one errors, which is a bit like that networking thing. So I love the way you've combined those. There are 2 hard things in programming, naming, cache invalidation, and off-by-one errors. Awesome. That is classic. I'm gonna hit clip on my Stream Deck because I think that is an awesome mashup of 2 other things. Now buffering. Shouldn't have said there hasn't been any. Grr! Bloody buffering Bastard.
Resilio started. I've paused mine. I don't know if it's going on yours.
Why the big pause? Yeah, of course, we've also got Resilio going on in my server cabinet. We've got the NAS doing Resilio whenever it feels like it. We should tell all other instructors to stop making any content when we're online. I could turn that NAS off remotely somehow, or just send it down a different broadband. I think, guys, what I need to do is go and do a right old one of the broadband lines. I know which one. There's the one where I get a text message in a few seconds if it drops. Should take my streaming traffic, basically only, and maybe my Mac, because I kind of know what's going on my Mac and my laptop, by IP binding, MAC address binding, MAC address to IP binding. And then everything else is free to use whatever, it's free to use the other broadband line, or will only use the other broadband line. I think I'll do that. I've just got to set up IP groups and all sorts of weird stuff in the router. It's not fun. Anybody who's seen inside a Draytech router, it's not the most fun thing. It's I'll show you briefly, just because I know you're techies and you like that sort of thing. So I've got these two broadband lines. One is directly the router itself, using its internal modem to be connected at 43 meg down and 10 meg up. And then the other is actually a completely different broadband line with a different modem that's plugged in through WAN 2. And then you have this load balancing policy in here, and you can start to do things like I started to try and do with Nest cams, etc. And then you need to have IP groups, and it's fun. Anyway, I'll play with it. I'll try and get us there. So I'm sorry that we're having troubles, and I am working on it. Don't worry about being horrible at game art. Remember, for everybody who wakes up in the morning who is horrible at game art, there is somebody else waking up in the morning who is horrible at game programming. And if you guys just talk to each other and love each other and respect each other and collaborate, or collaborate-ificate, if that's a word, then you can create synergy, which is one of those horrible sounding corporate buzzwords, but it's kind of true. There's a bunch of people who wake up and just want to make art and they're great at it and don't want to program. And there's, so try and talk to other people. You know where you should go? You should go to this place, our community forum. And there's even a collaboration sub-forum on there somewhere. I'll just see if I can find it. I think it's probably in Lounge. So if we just go to Lounge, strip the URL. I navigate websites by playing with the URL. Aren't I sad? Then we somewhere have got collaborate. There you go. Specific Ali. There. There you go. I can spell. So having the OBOE is what keeps it funny. OBOE. Off by one error. Yes, of course it is. Off by one error. Yes. There's no joke in there. Journalism Community Forum. Well, look at that. I'm an artist who learned to code. Lone Wolf FTW. Cool. For the win. All right. How are we doing? What I think I did is come up with a clever system. Well, I'm at the high right now, and then it's all gonna come crashing down when we try and actually do something else. But that's cool. At least that little exploration worked in the end. Not too many stashes needed. All right, I'm going to commit because I have no idea where I am after that big sidetrack. So only issue lock quest is not what we did there, but we just rewired an NPC and checked system or something. All right. Now, what are we doing next? I think the thing that's a bit... Being able to lock quests? No, we don't need to do that now. I mean, it kind of would make sense if lock quests couldn't be issued, but the easier solution, suggest in the chat, the easier solution than me implementing quest locking behavior is what? Well, the problem I've got is very much just a completely conceptual problem, is that we can have a quest that is in locked state, and yet you can still use it. Well, why don't we delete the locked state? That would be an easy solution. Let's check the data migration. Let's check that the states still work. So these instances here, now they've defaulted to active. Why have they defaulted to active? Actually, this is a great question for the community. So what I had that as the enum state, right? Locked, unlocked, active, complete. I deleted locked, and these guys went from being unlocked to active. Why? I know why, but why? Yes, Keith, I do think it is worth getting the basics of all aspects of the design art programming, even if you specialize in one, especially as an indie, and even in industry, because most of the big leaps are made in any field where somebody knows something about another field and joins things together. Number two, you can't get the respect of or even judge the quality of an artist programmer, designer, unless you know something of their trade. Firstly, you can't speak to them in their language, and secondly, if you know nothing of their trade, when they say, "Oh, that's going to take weeks," you're like, "Well, why?" You have no idea. So yes, do get a general overview. And number 3, the more personal reason: how do you know which of those things you really like and are good at until you've actually tried them all? So try them all, and then deepen on one, and then just deepen and deepen on that one, and collaborate with other people. It's going to give you the best possible result. Index shifted. Narc ID 89, I think it's the first person to get that right. Yes, so enums, the whole reason we use enums is we avoid trying to assign meanings to integers, but behind the scenes there is an integer here, and it was assigning 0 to locked, 1 to unlocked, etc. So when I remove locked, then anything that had state 1 now becomes active because the index of active becomes 1. So if I wanted to get rid of that enum state, but there were a load of things already out there, how would I do it? I would have to... There's not really a nice way of doing it apart from kind of removing the locked state, deprecating it and disallowing it. Certainly what you're not going to do is write functionality around locked quest if just because it's there and I put it in the list in the first place. I mean, in this particular case, I can just do the... data migration because it's only 2 objects, but it's always interesting to think how many game objects out there are going to get messed up because of what you did. By the way, when they get messed up, let's have a look at what actually changes on disk. I delete that state. We've got a commit just a moment ago. Let's look at what changes on here. And what changes is just that. Now, it can't be just that. No, it can be just that changes. Because even the .unity file, nothing has changed. And if we were to look in the .unity file, and let's just do that just for a second. Let's go and look at the scene file and see if we can find escape the pen. We will be able to by string and see what this quest state is set as inside the Unity file, all right? That's just for fun. So I'm opening up the whole folder in Atom. Why Atom? Because, I don't know, why not Atom, I guess. I like Atom. Mainly because I can do Atom dot. That's the main thing I like about Atom. That's sad and shallow, isn't it? So where are we? We are in levels, village2.unity. Okay, now that's the Unity file. Now if I go and find the bridge, how many of those are there? Here, 1. Now, this is where it's storing the find the bridge inside the file, inside the actual scene file. ToString untagged icon static is active 1. I don't see where the value of that is stored, of the state. So if I change the state to complete now and just resave, version control should dive in and help me out. What has changed about village2.unity? The differences were suppressed due to the file size or pattern. Oh, thank you. That was very kind of you. So where is it stored in here? It's probably somewhere else linking back to it. So it's probably stored under quest state. No. Not sure. It'll be linking through some weird GUIDs, and I can't exactly see where. I really would have liked the version control to have showed me that. That's a bit rubbish. Can I do an external diff on this? Because something small and simple has changed, but SourceTree refuses to tell me what. Let's go and have a look. Why am I going down this alley? Because I'm going to learn something, and because you guys are going to learn something. Not really any other reason. So, is this going to be man enough for the job? VS Code is good. And you're quite right, Keith. Does unlocked have a meaning if you remove locked? Probably not. So, another thing to consider while we're here. So, what has changed in this diff? There's a... Not that. Load of stuff there, I don't believe, is it? This proves to be a problem. Right, it is proving to be a problem. What I'll do, just because I am interested in what goes on here, you're quite right, Keith, we probably don't need unlocked once we have got rid of locked, or the other way around. But let's just do what I want to do here, which is, firstly, get SourceTree working. Come on, SourceTree. to the foreground and beyond. Okay, it's hanging for the moment. It really didn't want to try and do this diff. I just want to see where in the Unity file that enum value is stored. It must be stored in the .unity file. It will be stored probably as an integer. Makes me wonder about a bigger data migration, but if it's going to hang and mess around, I think I could let go of it quite easy. I think I will just let go of it. But anyway, the point is, if you do need to know what's actually on the disk, know where your stuff is and go from there. So just change unlock to started. Does that work? I'm just going to call it available, active and complete, or started and complete. Available, started and complete. Okay, but anyway, just be aware of these things. That's the point. We don't need to dive into that level of detail right now. Be willing to bring yourself back out. It is good to let yourself dive into those things as well sometimes. It's a balance. You'll learn a lot. The only reason I know about the structure of the Unity files, the YAML files that consist of the Unity scene files, and exactly where data is stored in terms of prefabs, and because I've let myself go deeply into that sort of thing as an academic exercise at one point. But actually, I think it happened for a good reason, which was we were in the Unity 2D course, which is Udemy CUD, this one here, and we were talking about prefabbing and where that data is and how it's stored. And when Rick and I really dived deep into that before we taught it. So that's why I went deep. So it had a purpose, which brings up a bigger life lesson, which is from this day on, I want you to make a pact to yourself, which is that you only learn stuff for the purposes of immediately using it or teaching it to somebody else. So go on an information diet like Tim Ferriss talks about. Don't just learn stuff for the intellectual stimulation of learning it. That's great, but if you just fill yourself up with knowledge and don't share it with anybody else, either in the form of a product or in teaching them, then you're not of any service to the world. Trust me, I know this better than anybody. I've done about 35 different things with my life, and I gave up on each of them and moved to something else. And I was full of knowledge and ideas and everything else, not helping anybody, not serving anybody. So just consider all your learning is directed into something, and you will learn better as a result, which is why we want you to always be building a game, always be building a project. Anywho, let's just finish this relatively trivial data migration. You see, look here, by the way, in the console here now, because I've got rid of the state active, we're getting an error here saying that the quest state does not contain a definition for active. Now, this is not anything to do with the scene file, which I haven't proved, but I'm pretty confident it's storing these states just as integers. But that's going to be in the actual code against the quest journal, where I try and use quest state.active, right? So it's now started. So what I probably should have done there, and the compiler would have helped me with this, is under quest, when I change this enum, instead of just changing it, if I'd have done a rename, it would have worked properly, all right? So just a thought there as well about migrating enums. You need to be a little bit careful about the impact of what's set in the scene and also about the impact of what's set in your code. So now both of these are available. Now let's just prove something. Let's prove that the good old C# and its strict typing is going to help us here. If I, instead of available, which I've set here in the inspector, if I change this now to donkey, because I love donkey, donkey, if I could do it right, let's go back and do that again. I hit far too many keys. Let's just do a rename donkey. Boom. Now if I go to the quest journal, okay, well donkey was the one I didn't want to change. Firstly, did it change in here? No, it didn't. Quest state available. So that suggests, oh no, donkey, it did change. So the scene must be storing it as an integer, and then it's resolving in the inspector here to the corresponding enum state. So that's one thing we've learned. It is being stored as the underlying representation, the integer. So that's one thing. So let's put it back to available. Okay, now next question, and I think I know the answer. If it says quest state.started here, and I want to rename started, what happens if I rename it in the quest? If I rename started to, what do I feel like now? A baklava. How do you spell baklava? What's that? No, it's just a squirrel. Baklava recipe. I like these things. These things. Baklava. B-A-K-L-A-V-A. Why am I using that? Because it's a term I haven't used recently. And I know that if I save that file, like I can see the quest journal has changed, quest state.baklava. So the lessons here are, number one, I'll tell you the lessons in the Udemy course. There you go. Buy part 1 of the Udemy course. We'll tell you the proper lessons in part 2. Aren't I mean? Okay, remember when you do a rename though to change all, to save all, because it won't work otherwise. All right, that took ages, massive squirrel, doesn't matter. It was fun and actually quite informative, and now when I come to teach the course, they'll be even more valuable.